Good evening, friends, and welcome to our new moon service. It is 8:40 p.m. here in Vietnam, and tonight will be the beginning of the full moon, which will last tonight and tomorrow. The full moon is the fortnightly event where Buddhists traditionally review their precepts and recommit to living by their precepts. And so that's one of the things we're going to do tonight. In place of our 15-minute meditation period, we will, or I will, recite the Bodhisattva precepts and recommit myself to trying to live the life of a Bodhisattva. So that's my plan for tonight. We will go through our initial liturgy to get us kicked off. And then in the place of our 15-minute meditation period, again, I'll recite the 58 Bodhisattva precepts. So without further ado, we'll get started with that. I pay homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the Fully Enlightened One. I pay homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the Fully Enlightened One. I pay homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the Fully Enlightened One. And the three refuges. I take refuge in the Buddha. May all sentient beings understand the great way profoundly and bring forth the Bodhi mind. I take refuge in the Dharma. May all sentient beings deeply enter the sutra treasury and have wisdom vast as the sea. I take refuge in the Sangha. May all sentient beings form together a great assembly, one and all in harmony. We will now recite the Bodhicitta prayer. With a wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Enthused by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence I generate the mind for full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space remains, as long as sentient beings remain, until then, may I too remain and dispel the miseries of the world. Now for the 6 perfections. As bodhisattvas, we seek to practice generosity, discipline, patience, exertion, meditation, and wisdom. Okay, so now, as I mentioned, I will take the time to review and recite all 58 of the 10 major and 48 minor precepts that in my tradition we call the Bodhisattva precepts, and they are derived from the Sutra of the Brahmanet, or the Brahmajala Sutra of the Mahayana tradition. So they go like this. I vow to support all living creatures and refrain from killing. I vow to respect the property of others and refrain from stealing. I vow to regard all beings with respect and dignity and refrain from objectifying others. I vow to be truthful and refrain from lying. I vow to maintain a clear mind and refrain from harming myself or others with intoxication. I vow to be kind and to encourage others, and to refrain from discouraging others, including myself. I vow to be kind to others and refrain from being boastful and self-centered. I vow to be generous, to be grateful for what I have and refrain from yearning for things that do not belong to me. I vow to promote harmony and refrain from acting in anger or hatred. I vow to affirm and uphold the three jewels, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. That's the first 10. Those are the major precepts, and the 48 minor precepts. I vow to respect my teachers and friends in the Dharma. I vow to abstain from entering into intoxicating situations or consuming substances intended to distract from this moment. I vow to be conscious of what I consume, the way in which it was produced, and what harm might result from my consuming it. I vow to bring awareness to the impact of what I ingest and take care not to harm myself or any other beings in the process. I vow to maintain the integrity and sanctity of the teacher-clergy to student relationship by never entering into a sexual or otherwise inappropriate relationship and thereby violating the trust of the student as well as the entire Sangha. I vow to encourage others to view past mistakes as learning opportunities that enable them to make better choices in the future. I vow to always request the Dharma and make offerings to visiting Sangha members. I vow to attend Dharma talks and events that will open my heart and mind, thus enabling my practice to grow stronger and allowing me to be of better service to others. I vow not to divide the Dharma into separate vehicles or doctrines by placing one classification as higher or better than another. I vow to always give care to the sick and the needy. I vow to abstain from the storing of weapons used to intentionally take away life. I vow to abstain from serving as an emissary of the military, except in nonviolent roles such as chaplaincy, medical positions, and other roles that do not directly engage in the violent expression of military service. I vow to conduct my livelihood in a way that is helpful to myself and others and refrain from business practices that limit the freedom or happiness of others. I vow to communicate in a way that is true, accurate, and helpful, and refrain from speech meant to plant seeds of doubt, misinformation, or gossip. I vow to support life by behaving in a way that respects and protects the environment as well as all beings, and to refrain from activities that may cause harm. I vow to teach the Dharma in a manner that inspires awakening and well-being for myself and others. I vow to fully understand the Dharma so that I may teach it in a manner that is true, accurate, and helpful. I vow to share the Dharma as freely as I have received it, with no personal gain as my motive. I vow to serve others with commitment, kindness, and integrity. I vow to communicate in a direct and compassionate manner that promotes harmony and to refrain from speech that contains hidden or implied messages meant to cause harm or unhappiness. I vow to liberate all sentient beings from suffering and the causes of suffering. I vow to treat others with respect and to refrain from behaving in a manner that violates, harms, or imposes revenge on others. I vow to conduct myself in a manner that is consistent with the Dharma, to remain humble and accessible, and to refrain from arrogant or self-important behavior. I vow to teach the Dharma with generosity and an open heart. I vow to put the teachings of the Buddha Dharma into practice in my everyday life and to teach others how to do the same. I vow to be a Sangha member that acts with integrity and accountability. I vow to share all offerings made to the Dharma or the Sangha. I vow to accept invitations given equally to all others and refrain from accepting invitations that exclude anyone based on gender, race, religion, physical condition, age, or sexual orientation. I vow to be inclusive and invite all people equally, regardless of gender, race, religion, physical condition, or sexual orientation. I vow to conduct my livelihood in a way that is helpful to myself and others, and refrain from business practices that limit the freedom or happiness of others. I vow to give all Sangha members equal consideration and respect, and to refrain from engaging in any actions that might cause division or conflict. I vow to respect all clergy members and dharmic objects. I vow to extend loving kindness indiscriminately to all sentient beings, and to greet all experiences with openness, curiosity, and acceptance. I vow to approach all beings with respect and dignity, and refrain from objectifying others. I vow to always keep a clear and open mind. I vow to make great vows. I vow to make firm resolutions. I vow to keep myself safe whenever possible, and to refrain from putting myself or others in environments where harm is more likely. I vow to respect all members of the Sangha equally. I vow to cultivate wisdom and good judgment. I vow not to unfairly discriminate against others when conferring the precepts. I vow equanimity in teaching the Dharma, and will not enter into teaching arrangements for the sake of profit. I vow to offer the precepts only to those that wish to take them with a sincere and open heart. I vow to uphold all of these precepts. I vow to value the sutras and the ethical guidelines set forth by the Buddha. I vow to teach and serve all sentient beings in ways that are appropriate for who they are. I vow to teach the Dharma in ways that are appropriate and helpful, and to refrain from teaching in ways that cause harm. I vow to consistently support the Dharma in my daily life. I vow to keep the Dharma fresh, alive, and vibrant, and to refrain from any actions that might cause its destruction. So those are the 10 major and 48 minor Bodhisattva precepts. I try my best to review those every fortnight, every new moon and full moon. Sometimes I've shared those with you in the past. And I felt the need to do that publicly tonight on this new moon. It's the end of the month, and it's a good time to start the new month, start March off. I guess tomorrow's the last day of the month, right? And to start March off on the right foot. So I like it when the new moon or the full moon falls on the last day of the month, or close to the last day of the month. I feel like it always has a new beginning with each new month. And so I appreciate you listening to me while I recite those, and I hope that it is something that you too can find useful to recite your precepts, whether you take 5 precepts or 8 precepts, or you haven't taken any precepts yet, or maybe you're a monastic and you've taken more than 250 or so precepts. It's a great tradition that the Buddha established, where we review those fortnightly and recommit ourselves. So that was my goal tonight, and I hope that you seek to make similar goals and similar resolutions to do that as well. So we will now chant the Heart Sutra, the sutra on the insight that brings us to the other shore. And again, you can find the text to that in our Dharma liturgy, which can be found at the top of our page. There's a button that says liturgy at www.onedharmazen.org. So without further ado, we'll get started with that.
The insight that brings us to the other shore. Practicing realization, he overcame all ill being. Listen, Shariputra, this body itself is emptiness, and emptiness itself is this body. This body is not other than emptiness, and emptiness is not other than this body. The same is true of feelings, perceptions, mental formations, and consciousness. Listen, Shariputra, phenomena bear the mark of emptiness. Their true nature is the nature of no birth, no death, no being, no unbeing, no defilement, no purity, no increasing, no decreasing. That is why in emptiness, body, feelings, perceptions, mental formations, and consciousness are not separate self-entities. The 18 realms of phenomena, which are the 6 sense organs, 6 sense objects, and 6 consciousnesses, are also not separate self-entities. The 12 links of interdependent arising and their extinction are also not separate self-entities. Ill-being, the causes of ill-being, the end of ill-being, the path, insight, and attainment are also not separate self-entities. Whoever can see this no longer needs anything to attain. Bodhisattvas who practice the insight that brings us to the other shore see no more obstacles in their mind, and because there are no more obstacles in their mind, they can overcome all fear, destroy all wrong perceptions, and realize perfect nirvana. All Buddhas in the past, present, and future, by practicing the insight that brings us to the other shore, are all capable of attaining authentic and perfect enlightenment. Therefore, Shariputra, it should be known that the insight that brings us to the other shore is a great mantra, the most illuminating mantra, the highest mantra, a mantra beyond compare, the true wisdom that has the power to put an end to all kinds of suffering. Therefore, let us proclaim a mantra to praise the insight that brings us to the other shore. Gate, gate, paragate, parasangate, bodhisatva.
We will now recite the 4 great vows, also known as the 4 Bodhisattva vows. Sentient beings are numberless. We vow to save them all. Delusions are endless. We vow to cut through them all. The teachings are infinite. We vow to learn them all. The Buddha way is inconceivable. We vow to attain it. Life and death are of supreme importance. Time passes swiftly by, and opportunities to awaken are easily lost. Strive to realize your true nature. Do not squander your time by night or day. Thank you, friends, for joining me for our recitation of the Bodhisattva Precepts on the new moon of February. And I wish that you all be peaceful, happy, and well. Good night.